how did you get the nickname Dizzy?
I used to listen to a lot of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and
Don't
I
stop.
really like and I really like the Busy Bone, so Dizzy Bone kind of rhymes with it, you know. It
What
gave me
was
another name to go by.
what was your favorite what was your favorite record from the Bone Thugs era?
The East 1999.
You know what? Why do you think a lot of just why do you think a lot of Asians resonated with Bone Thugs so much?
Um, I mean, we could relate a lot of the, I guess, first generation Asian Americans related to, the street life and everything when they first came over here. Just survival, trying to get along with everyone, trying not to get picked on.
That's for sure. So,
Mm.
for those who don't know, like where are you based in? Yeah, where are you based and where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Diego in Linda Vista.
Okay,
So in the 90s, Linda Vista was pretty much where all the Vietnamese people were at until
okay,
they kind of were dispersed around San Diego. Um, my shop is still there now, but I live in Marietta.
got it. So when you talk about your shop, you're talking about your
My tattoo
the
shop.
tattoo shop, right? Which I do want to dive into your tattoo career because um it's a big part of who you are, and
Yep.
I've never got a tattoo done,
Oh,
so I have a lot of questions for
okay.
you in terms of that particular art because I'm fascinated by all different forms of art. Even my passion is the performing arts, 'cause I'm a singer, but
Okay.
tattoo is definitely a beautiful art that I want to dive into. So let's talk about the your foundation, the Doan Foundation for the Arts. So take us through like what it is and what um what it is and how did it start?
Um, Let me get into how it started
Sure.
first. So it was kind of, I did on not a whim, but it was kind of an impulsive thing where one day I woke up and I was just like, okay, I pretty much accomplished everything I needed to accomplish in the tattoo world in my life. I have everything I need. I don't really yearn for anything else. So I'm like, okay, what else is going to give me purpose? Like, why am I here? What am I here for? What am I going to do next? So that's why I kind of took a deep dive and started thinking about, what got me to the position I'm in now, how I got here, um, and what I would have changed, what I would have done differently if I had a different kind of help or whatnot. The experiences I had that, I'm lucky to have had. For instance, going to college and experiencing that, even though I didn't stay in college, I was there and I was able to find out that it wasn't for me. And then I
But that was your choice.
started
You know what I
taking
mean?
time.
You got there,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah. Because I didn't want to live my life wondering what if, right? So, I grew up in a pretty poor neighborhood. Nothing but immigrants. We're all just trying to survive. Our parents, the only thing in their mind is just, making enough money, get food on the table the next day. And you know how Vietnamese parents are. They came over here, they expect you to do everything they couldn't do, and it's all on you to kind of prove that their sacrifice was worth it in America. So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on us to evolve and be successful. But it was definitely difficult when you're surrounded by all that negativity and just the system itself. You know what I mean? It's very hard to break out of that shell and be your own person and strive to be greater. We're kind of, I guess you can say our mindset was more in the locality that we didn't really think outside the box. We didn't think we could change anything on a larger platform other than what was at home. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I just wanted to be able to give hope to the kids that were like me growing up now, and just give them more opportunity. Rather than what society wants them to be or their parents want them to be. A lot of them don't really have too many options when it comes to career choices. Either, they might drop out of college or drop out of high school because they need to make money and so forth. So we do scholarships, and it's not just for higher education institutions like universities or anything. It can be for technical school, vocational school, barber school, whatever it may be, because not we're not under any impression that every kid is gonna go to college and then that's their path. They're gonna go. They're gonna have a smooth path and do whatever they want to do. Sometimes life gets in the way. They gotta do some type of trade school or something in order to make money right away to survive. You know what I mean?
What disciplines of arts and the creative do you put a focus on over at the foundation?
Everything like from performing arts to fine art to fashion, whatever it may be. So it's not just isolated to just like the arts, like art. You know what I mean?
Got it.
We wanted to keep it open. We wanted to keep an open mind and kind of cater to every kid's wishes. But we do just cover Southern California for now, you know, because it's definitely a big step to try to cover the nation, especially as such a young foundation, you know. And I myself do not have any or did not have any connections in the nonprofit sector or anything. So I wasn't even going to make it or try to make it as big as it is. When I originally started, I just wanted to branch off of my business and then just give to them on the side every year and just do my own thing. But one of my good friends, the vice chair of my board, we had a conversation and he really asked me, why do that at all if you're not gonna go all the way? And that's true because
That's true.
part of my nature, yeah, part of my nature is I'm pretty much all in. I do everything, you know what I mean? So it was kind of out of character for me to suppress that ambition for myself. I think it's because I was fairly new. I was still learning about the dynamics of everything. I was I guess I was just afraid of the amount of support or lack thereof that I would get. So I didn't want to step in too deep, you know what I mean? But I'm glad I did.
I'm glad you did too. So I wanted to give share with the viewers something. So I know you set the expectation to about 150 guests, and
Mhm.
that was already quite an amount. But what I read on your Instagram, you guys actually went far above that and opened it up and was able to sell out the event at 250 guests. It is
Yeah.
right.
We're at I think we're at almost 300.
300.
It's like 280 or something. Yeah.
That is, I mean, just first off, congratulations
Thank you.
on that
Thank you.
particular achievement. How do you feel? Getting to almost 300 people to come. This is your first annual gala.
Yes, it's the first event we're holding in general because we were kind of just laying low until we hit the 1 year mark. We're only at maybe we started last August, so I don't know. We're at like 9, 10 months right now. So I didn't expect it. I wasn't really looking at everyone that was purchasing tickets or anything. I mean, I was keeping track of the guests, but we had not generated the sponsor tickets. So in my mind, and I was like, okay, there's no way we'll get more than like 150 people because it's on a Friday, it's on EDC weekend. Um, yeah, and
It is. That's right. It is EDC weekend. Yeah.
yeah, and I was just trying to find a good rational number, ticket prices for everyone, just to make it fair for the students and for them, because we don't make anything off it. It's literally all that any profit goes straight into the foundation, you know. So I wasn't sure if people will get on board, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. And now we have people really trying to get in, but we can't produce more seats. It's going to be super tight.
Give us a taste of what the program's like.
Okay. So we were gonna have like a mini art gallery and everything in there, but that changed because we don't have space anymore. But itinerary wise, we have a Chinese lion dance group.
Yep.
And we have Samahan Philippine Dance, which is a Filipino dance group. We will be announcing the scholarship winners. And we do have a table there where the students will be with their families. We picked 3 students and we allowed them 2 guests. So they'll be up there They're going to give little speeches, and then we're going to present them. And then we are going to talk about our sponsors. And after that, we will be having a Lao rapper named Heartbreaker and a Vietnamese rapper named GQ perform. And then my friend DJ Kuya Eric, he's gonna close it out. That's it.
That
Drinks, food, and
honestly, that's actually a pretty from the entertainment side on the music end. Names I'm very familiar with. At VidQ here, we actually focus a lot on showcasing music talent, and GQ is a artist that I've had the privilege of meeting, and I'm a fan of his work.
yeah,
So I'm I think it's going to be great to have his see what he brings to the stage
yeah,
for the gala, as well as Heartbreaker. I think Heartbreaker is definitely has done a lot of great work,
yeah,
and to have the both of them, I mean, if people of the rap genre, they'll definitely be you should be familiar if you follow Asian American artists. So
yeah.
amazing lineup. And now I want to put the spotlight on you for a bit because you seem to be very uh, I don't think you like the spotlight to be on you, right?
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not one to exploit anything I do, or you know, that's just me. I've always kind of laid low and did my thing. Same thing with my tattoo career.
So like, but with this being your first gala, I mean, I think most people are going to be expecting a speech from you. So I
Yes.
guess my question to you is, how how do you feel about getting on stage and being able to uh, share your whole, like what are you gonna tap into to do your speech for that night?
Yeah. So I mean, I for a long time I've avoided um, tattoo conventions, interviews, all that. And then only when I started the foundation, I realized I had to use my own experiences to promote it. And I just been, you know, on board with everything. So since then, I've started writing my book, started writing my book, articles, everything. So I feel good. I'm basically just gonna talk about the main issue at hand, which is the lack of support for kids getting into the
Yeah,
arts. I'll tell them a little bit about my story, about the accident that happened to me that got me to where I am. And basically, I'm a testament to what can happen if, you know, the kids put their passion where their mouth is, basically, and the family just accepts it. You know what I mean?
got it. Will you be showcasing some of your art, Ken?
No. I want it to be about everyone else. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like everyone knows my story already. So
I would say no. There's a lot of people that would love to hear your story, including myself. I do want to dive into that in just a bit too, because
mhm.
honestly, even though I've seen your work and we've exchanged conversation, just chats online, but we've never had a one-on-one conversation. So I wanted to save that
Yeah.
for this live chat here.
Okay.
So thank you for doing that. Uh, the the one thing I wanted to point out, I just didn't know on Instagram Live now
Mhm.
they actually allow for a fundraising option. So I put it out there
Okay.
because I also it as we're talking specifically
Yes.
for the event. I know most people aren't able to go because it's sold out,
Mhm.
but I wanted to actually give people a way if they felt inspired um, to donate to the Doan Foundation, and it's working. We were able to raise some money. We have 4 donations already come through, man.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank
Appreciate it.
you. Yeah, to those 4 donors that came in and gave some money to the Dawn Foundation. So
That's
thank
what
you for that.
it's about, man. It's crazy how many people have come together for this that I didn't expect. You know what I mean? No matter how little, how big, it all helps out a lot.
Now I want to take this time to learn a little bit more about your tattoo career and talk about your studio, Black Lotus Social Club. So how did you get your start in becoming a tattoo artist?
Okay, so we got to do a deep dive.
Yeah.
So Uh, my mom left when I was pretty young, so it was just me and my dad, pretty much. Um, he was a single parent, struggling. He worked early, came home late. I was always just walking to school, walking back, staying out at the people's houses, my aunt, my uncle's house, and then obviously I couldn't do the same things that other teenagers were able to do, like go to the mall, watch a movie, or go out to eat, or whatever it may be. So, as a teenager, that was really frustrating. So, uh, I kind of went crazy for a while in my head. And like, in my room by myself, not being able to do anything. I was by myself a lot. And then I just had to figure out a way to make money, you know? So I was, I was cutting hair at first.
I see.
I was cutting hair. I was fixing little like car stereos, and then I had the idea of becoming a tattoo artist because I used to hang out with a bunch of dudes, and one of them was a tattoo artist here in San Diego. There were only two Vietnamese artists here at the time, and I hung out with one of them.
Okay.
And so, I used to bring in customers all the time. And one day I just asked, I was only like 15 years old, but I asked him to tattoo my back. I asked him how much it would be.
At
So
15, you get your first tattoo at 15?
yeah, well, I'll tell you a story about
Okay,
that.
okay, okay.
But I asked him to do it for me, but it was going to be $700, which is not much. But at the time, as
Oh,
a 15-year-old,
that time?
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I was like, okay, what do I do? I can't afford this, but I want something, you know? So I saved up, I think like $100 or something. And I asked my cousin, since I didn't have any debit card, credit card, anything, I asked him to buy me a kit off of eBay. So once I got that, I just started practicing it myself.
Cool.
Then,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
and my cousin from France was visiting at the time, so I did a bunch of tattoos on him, and then it just went from there. And I wasn't charging anyone. I was just kind of trying to get better. It was more of a hobby at the time. But I was tattooing myself almost every single night while I was in high school.
Wow.
So there came a point where, I was really struggling. So one of my friends, she was just like, "Oh, you really need to start charging for this." So that's when I just went ham, and I converted my whole room into a tattoo studio. I took out my bed. I took out pretty much everything. Like you walk in and I would sleep on the massage table or sleep on the floor because I didn't have a bed anymore. And I just wanted to look as presentable as possible and professional as possible with with what I had. You know what I mean? Um, I didn't have much. We couldn't really get the good supplies because I wasn't a professional. So I learned how to build tattoo machines. I learned how to fix power supplies. I learned how to mix inks, clean stuff, disposable, whatever it may be. So, yep. So that started. I did that for a while. Um, I was doing pretty bad in school at the time because I used to ditch and stay home and tattoo because money was more important to me at the time. And
How much, but how much was how much were you making per session or
not a lot.
like, more important?
Yeah, um, I was just tattooing mostly for like meals.
I, yeah, okay.
Yeah, mostly for meals or like I didn't charge more than like $60 or something.
Got it.
But just to get by, you know. I didn't have a car, I couldn't afford a car. I didn't get my first car until I was maybe 18 years old. But yeah, I did that for a while. I kind of slowed down when I was 17 to focus on school a little bit because that's when I kind of stopped hanging out with gangs and everything, and I started to focus on what I was trying to do. And then I graduated high school with honors, got a full-ride scholarship, San Diego State. I was gonna do plastic surgery. That was the goal. And
Surgery. Okay.
I was tattooing. I ended up tattooing at a shop on the side. Well, it was a full-time job, but I was doing that full-time and I was going to school full-time. So after 2 years of college, I realized that it wasn't for me. I got really bored. So I started spending more time in the tattoo shop. And then opened my first shop when I was 20 years old.
you've been at this for quite some time from self-taught.
Yeah,
What,
18, about 18 years now.
18 years. Okay. So how would so be I know your path was self-taught, but like how do you think other artists, how did they develop their skills? Is there a vocational or a technical school they can go to, or is it really the similar path?
Uh, well, back when I started tattooing, it was very the industry was very tight knit, small. It was very hard to get in, but easy to stand out. Nowadays, it's very easy to get in, but hard to stand out. Because when I started, there were no videos on how to tattoo. There was no one really wanted to teach you unless they really trust you and wanted to hand down that skill. It was almost like a classical skill that is passed down from generation to generation. And unless you knew someone that knew someone, you weren't gonna get taught, you know? Um, so it was before at the time, it was right when I think the shows started coming out, like Miami and all that.
Okay, okay.
So I got lucky. I got in like right before it happened. So then it started blowing up and I kind of just went along for the ride, you know? Um, Nowadays it's hard to stand out. There's so many resources out there. A kid can learn how to tattoo from YouTube, you know? There are schools out there, but I feel like it's kind of a waste of money. It's always better to learn from someone who you admire, where you admire their work. Back then, those schools were very frowned upon. There'd be like protests and everything because the proper way is to get an apprenticeship, do that for a year or two or three. Some of them are paid, some of them are, I wouldn't say free, but you kind of have to earn your respect. It's kind of like a full ride scholarship. You know, you don't get paid, but you learn a craft that you have forever.
Like what does the tattoo industry or just being a tattoo artist mean to you?
Well,
It's
I've always seen myself as an outlier from the industry. I don't know why, because I don't really like to put myself in it.
okay.
If you understand what I'm saying, I don't like to be classified as. I would never want to be that guy that people just come see once and then you don't hear from me again. I take your money and it's goodbye. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I like to establish I like to establish a relationship that lasts, 10, 12, 15 years, which is why I'm so booked because these people, they trust me. Um, I remember them. I remember their names, their kids, their families, their stories, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
But I think that trust is very important. So like as someone who's never had a tattoo in my life, and I'm 41 years old, right? I thought about it. I thought about it as an expression, but I think the sheer level of permanence kind of
Mhm.
turns me, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I like I like having blank slates often, not when it comes to not just my body, but then because I change my expression when it comes to clothes or when it comes to the way my expression and so forth. So when I think of
Yes.
tattoo being such a permanent thing. So I guess what I was asked when I was asking that question earlier is that being a tattoo artist, unlike me being a performer where, uh, there's a beginning and end,
Mhm.
you are such a you finish when you finish a piece of work, that is that's a lot of pressure in terms of does the recipient or the
Yeah.
person on the other side, how did they feel
Mhm.
about it? And if have you ever, a follow-up question to that is, have you ever had a dissatisfied um, client?
Uh, if they were, they never told me. But I don't know. Everything's pretty much second nature to me at this
Do you
point.
feel no
It
pressure
always could.
at all when you like, yeah?
No, because if you don't have that confidence going in, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Agreed. No,
You know what I mean?
I agree with that answer because I
Yeah.
wouldn't want if I came to you as my tattoo artist, I want you to be as confident as possible, man, because I'm the one who's
Mhm.
like second guessing this thing, you know?
Yes. I usually, that's what the consultations with me are for. I usually have people come in, talk about what they want, get a feel for them, but get a feel for their ideas. And I don't think they realize this, but I'm feeling them out too as a person, what they like, what they don't like, what they want, their life, um, whether they have kids or not. I'm pretty good at reading people, so I can. It's very rare. that I'll draw something that somebody doesn't agree with the first time around. Very
Now,
rare. I can only think of maybe 10 in my whole career.
now beyond the body tattoo, do you do any like do you take transfer your art into other visual mediums like like yeah any other like visual art or paintings and stuff?
Um, I wish I could. I mean, I wish I had the time to, but the honest truth is, most of the time, what I'm putting down as a tattoo is going to take me the same amount of time on like Procreate or something, right? So I get bored really easily. So I wouldn't be able to recreate the same thing twice and have the patience to do it. That's why I don't paint because I don't have the patience to like do a little bit, wait, do a little bit, wait. I just kind of go. I'm a very fast tattoo artist too, because once I'm zoned in, I knock it out. But yeah, that's the downside, I guess. I wish I could. There'd be so many like art pieces out there for me to, offer to the public and everything. But
What
yeah,
do you think is the biggest like misconception of uh body art or tattoos?
um, tattoo artists or
No,
tattoos. So
the tattoos.
misconception. I guess it's the most common misconception is this relation to, I don't know, rebellious
Rebellion.
people or I wouldn't say it's a far stretch to say anything because,
Or like gang of
you know,
completion. I think that's probably a misconception oftentimes, right? It's
yeah,
like
it is, but it's not because they do rock tattoos, you know what I mean? And same thing, bikers, things like that. So it's just the problem is it always takes this small percentage of people doing the wrong things to give us a label. It doesn't matter what it is, just like Asian drivers. You know what I mean? Could be only 1% of them out there that are really bad drivers, but then all of a sudden we're all bad drivers, right? So it's just one of those things, I think.
I want to ask you a question about uh do you follow or are you aware of the scene in Vietnam, like in Saigon or Hanoi, the tattoo
The,
the
the shirts there.
tattoo artists?
Yeah, yeah. I follow quite a few of them. It's growing a lot because when I went back in, I was back there in 2009, and it wasn't there weren't too many tattoo shops, and I did walk into one. The funny thing is, I saw one of my tattoos in their portfolio.
Really?
Well, because I realized all the tattoos that are in their portfolio, it wasn't really their tattoos. It was just designs of people's tattoos that people can choose from. So I was like, what the heck? But I didn't say anything. I just walked out. But now they have a lot of talent over there. It's pretty crazy. And it's crazy the acceptance that is going on over there as well.
I mean, I would say, I mean, up here in Orange County, there's a few shops, and a notable name is like there's 20, I
Mm.
believe that's up there that gets a lot of attention. And I've just been I'm taking and there's Hori Tran
Mhm.
it's I'm actually going to be speaking with him next week because he also he transferred his art into a book as well. So
Yeah, I saw some of his stuff with the Little Saigon stuff.
yeah, and he
Like,
did. So I'm
yeah,
really excited to
yeah.
kind of deep dive
Yeah, I
into.
talk to him here and there. I've never met him in person, but we talk online all the time.
I do see a lot. Yeah, there's more. Not there's a lot more Vietnamese, I would say,
Mhm.
that
Yes.
are coming up in the scene, and also just tattoos are a big part of what I see from a lot of people getting. It's not as uh
Taboo. Anyway.
taboo. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it, it's all different that, and uh, it's not just getting a tattoo is not just the big pieces. Like,
Mhm.
and I actually want to ask you about those big pieces because it's like it does.
Mhm.
What's what is your thought process going into like a whole arm or like a whole back, or you know what I mean? Because how do you help the person you're tattooing like stay calm throughout that whole
Mhm.
process? Do you talk with them, or you
Yes.
guys tell stories?
Yeah, yeah. I always talk. I get to know all my clients. My sessions are typically 5 to 6 hours each. For everyone, I do two. two of those a day. So the first session is usually the most difficult because we're trying to just put it on correctly, like the stencil. And then, I know I can relate and I know how scary it is for a client to just give them all your trust, give the artist all your trust and just be like, okay, this is going to be on me forever. Um, so I can talk them through it, explain everything I'm going to do, so that I answer all their questions before they get to ask it. So I think that's the main thing, and talking them through, make sure they're okay every 10 minutes. Have a relaxing environment. I'm not playing like heavy metal where, there's scraping sounds or anything. It's a pretty chill environment. I give them a break every hour or so. And then, yeah, just walk through the process.
Do you see yourself in the next 10 years, still on this path, or do you, yeah, where do you see yourself in the next like 5, 10 years?
I'm giving myself till I'm 55. I don't know why that number, but that just comes to mind. I think my hands will probably give out by then, so that's a good retirement plan. Because I do tattoos so much, I do maybe I'm doing 7 days a week, about 2, 3 people a day.
Wow.
So that's about 20 sessions a week. Yeah.
That is, congratulations on that, man. I mean, just to be able to have your own shop and then having people just book you for already like that this consistently. Do you oftentimes have do you see a client more than once?
Yeah.
Percentage.
All the time. Yeah, I have clients that have been with me since I was 15 years old. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's still weird when I wake up and I think about it. And because before tattooing wasn't really considered a career. The people who did do it did it purely because they loved it, not because it came with money or anything. And that's pretty much the reason why I started. I just got lucky enough to where it became a profitable career. And, you know, at the time when I dropped out of college, I felt like my decision was pretty hasty. I tattooed my neck the same day I dropped out because I told myself I was never going to go back and I would have to make it work. No, and I lied to my family for a while, maybe like 4 or 5 years before they realized I was in college anymore.
Speaking of family, I mean, do you have a family yourself?
Yeah, I have a wife, two stepdaughters, and a granddaughter actually.
What does being Vietnamese mean to you?
I always relay it back to family, the responsibility to back to what I said in the beginning, the responsibility to make your family sacrifices worth it.
Make
Pretty much.
your family sacrifice worth it.
Yeah. I mean, my family came here later in the 80s, late 80s. So I don't know why they left so late. So I was the first one born here.
The
So
late.
obviously,
Wow. Okay.
they came in 89, and then I was born in Michigan, and then they came here in 1991. So I was the first one born here, so I had a different set of pressures on me than my brother had. So yeah, I'll go back to family. I feel like you shouldn't lose yourself. I have cousins who came here from Vietnam when they're 13 years old, and now they don't speak a lick of Vietnamese, know nothing about it, don't care. Although I was born here, I was always very into promoting the culture and keeping it alive. I used to be involved with Hula. I used to do with martial arts. I tried to, I used to help out the Vietnamese Boy Scouts of America, and I just tried to get involved in any way I can. Not just for the Vietnamese people, but representing the Vietnamese people in other lights, which is why like my foundation, we don't just focus on Asian Americans. I want to help
Exactly.
everybody.
I mean, that was clearly in your in the first paragraph, which was the all marginalized communities.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like we, we don't really need to um what's the word? There's already enough, turmoil, friction in society right now. we don't need anything else to divide us. I think it's more important than ever to, offer that offer that hand to where it may be, and especially being Vietnamese and our people being here for, 40, 50 years now. It's time for us to step up and, try to get back.
I have this conversation a lot because we're inching up to 50 years. We're at year actually 48, right? So 2 more years to the 50-year anniversary of and there's and of that particular day. And there's a very polarizing viewpoint of it, and respectfully, I understand why. But I'd like to strike these conversations about what especially to American-born Vietnamese like yourself and myself, because like oftentimes people when we get to our age, you do lose a little bit about you can easily say I'm an American now. I don't need to really back in and learn the history and go deep dive into our culture, because America is the place that I'm at. But I I feel going back, the amount of times that I've gone back to Vietnam, I fall in love with the culture and our people a lot more. And I feel like there's so much more that we didn't know about what it means to be Vietnamese, right? And that's kind of why I actively like to have these conversations around the identity of the Vietnamese side, because everyone has a very different interpretation or meaning to it. My viewpoint is I do see you can express both identities well, and express both identities well and be proud of it. And that's why I've been stepping into the language a lot. I've been and it's not you would think that being born in being born Vietnamese, you'll be able to pick up the language faster. But if you don't practice it, just like in any language, and also keep up with the new words and the usage of it, it's you speak like an elementary kid.
Yeah, the way I kept my Vietnamese was pretty interesting. I mean, it was mandatory because my parents didn't speak English for the most
That's
part.
helpful, man. No, my family was different. My parents actually they wanted to speak as much English as possible, because they to them they felt that was the way to to connect, right? And they want to practice. But I was like, we were more of a like my wife, her family chose to speak primarily Vietnamese. Her Vietnamese is exceptional.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm pretty fluent. And I spoke to no Vietnamese all my life. And my brother, he's 12 years older than me, so he was like, in high school when I was young. But there'd be grammar things he would ask me. I was able to, I don't know, compartmentalize both identities. So I could be super American or super Vietnamese. So I'd be able to help my family out in that regard. Um, but those are the only people I spoke to at the time. So whatever terms or phrases or conversation I had were strictly, traditional Vietnamese speaking. And then as I got older, I got into more trouble, started hanging out with like Vietnamese gangsters and stuff, then I learned the slang side of it. And both of them combined kind of just made me super Vietnamese at the end of the day.
So the slangs here that we learn is very different from what the kids now are using. So
I'm sure. I can't stand it.
One last thing I want to say is over the years I've had a greater appreciation for Modan, our lion dance for the non-Vietnamese speakers. So shout out for you for participating in that and also showcasing that as probably the opening number for the gala, right? Because for traditionally line dance, for those of you who don't know, is not just loud noise and and all these activities, but there's a very symbolic reason why line dances are used to open. For businesses, they use it to kind of scare away all the different spirits and to clear the energy for that, and also for events. It's you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've learned over the years as I do more of these community events. Why line dancers are used symbolically for ceremony for that.
Yes, like it dials down to every little thing, the color, the lines that you use, how you enter, how you exit, every especially in Chinese culture, they're very superstitious when it comes to line dancing. You have to do everything perfect, or else it can ruin your luck for, thousands of years.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What actually the part that maybe you can answer this question is the eating of the lettuce, right?
Sure.
What's the meaning behind that part?
Um, I, it's mostly to signify surplus
Sure.
of food, I mean, you could say. Yeah. Like having enough to eat, spreading the wealth pretty much. And it's more of the green color of the lettuce than the lettuce itself is money. You know what I mean?
Okay. So
Yeah.
then he'll
And
eat it and then he spits it all out, which is abundance, right?
so we'll spit it out at the crowd and try to, spray it to as many people as possible. And there's, the orange eating as well. Um, Same thing, chili orange, like offering of food. Sometimes they do crazy stuff like presenting ducks and all kinds of things. And depending on the zodiac year, you can't do certain things or you should do certain things. For instance, we had a show during the year of the snake. We usually have a snake routine where the lion is like battling the snake, but we couldn't do it because it was the year of the snake. And the owner of the supermarket was like, "No, we can't do that. It's going to bring you bad luck." So there's a lot of little things you got to know. And luckily, the leader of my group back then, he actually started the Vietnamese Boy Scouts in America in San Diego in 1983. And he used to be a Buddhist monk. So he knew all this information and taught us as we were growing up.
So for those of you who see the lettuce during the line dance, we see the lettuce part. Don't run away when they're spitting it out because he's giving you
Yeah, yeah, I catch it. It's like
you gotta catch it, man. And I always thought the coolest thing to kind of close it all off was they they do the scroll of and I think it's usually like what are some of the popular sayings like that in those scrolls? It's like we should
I couldn't tell you. I'm not good with proverbs, but usually proverbs regarding prosperity, luck, things like that. We used to actually have a person in Chinatown that would do custom ones for every single business we had to perform at in like original Vietnamese calligraphy.
Mhm.
So I really couldn't read those, but for the most part, they all have to do with positive things.
Got it.
And it's
Cool.
customary for them to hang it up in their business till the end or continuation of their business.
First and foremost, congratulations on a sellout for your gala. I seriously wish I would definitely love to be there for the second one when you have it. Me and my crew will come out, sponsor and support. But I felt like this was the best way I can give back to you is to let you share your story and let people know more about you. I had a pleasure of really talking and getting to know you. So thank you for taking this time to have a chat with me.
Thanks for having me, man.